To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power.
Hello, today we're talking about Batman. How dare you! Trying to usurp my gig? You think I don't know the revenue potential of a cute dog? Got a good one for you today. We're talking about Batman. Now, Jonah, as the resident superhero expert, can you tell me what is a Batman?
Well, Batman's usually this guy who likes to fly around, fight crime, you know, just doing Batman things.
Why is he a Batman?
You know, there's something that happens when you have childhood
Spoiler.
trauma, and you know, your parents get killed, and then you have those rage and anger, and then you decide to travel the world and fight bad guys.
Why bats?
In the comics, there was one night where he was just sitting in Wayne Manor, and he was chilling, minding his own business, and a bat flies through the window, and he decides to become Batman. In other versions, they have him falling in a cave, and there's a bunch of bats around. So, I mean, it depends. Everybody has their own different version, and everything like that, so it depends which one you saw.
Alrighty. Right on. So, today we're talking about Batman. The toys, the video games, the movies, the comics. Jonah has been gracious enough to bring part of his collection to me, as I do not own a single Batman toy.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty disgusting. We're going to be drinking a little bit, and without further ado, you want to do a shot?
Yeah.
Alright, let's do it. We have generic whiskey here. I don't think I can say the name. Cheers, good buddy.
Cheers.
And happy Batmans. That was not a canned response. That was pretty gross. Jonah's real man here. Not crying. For this episode, I rewatched the Tim Burton movies. So 1989 and Batman Returns, which came out in 1992. And I was surprised by how much I liked them, given how effing crazy they are. What is your favorite and why?
I would have to say Batman Returns is probably my favorite.
Really?
Batman movie. Yes.
Very interesting. I have a contrarian opinion about that, but go on.
As much as I loved the first Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker,
Yes.
I liked the character plot a little bit more in the second one.
Okay.
I like the extra villain.
What do you mean by the character plot? What do you mean by that?
I think I like the story more.
Okay.
Just how he had Catwoman, and then there was like the love interest.
Okay, yes.
And then Danny DeVito playing the Penguin, and then the Cobblepots were a rich family, just like the Waynes, and then they were shut out.
Yeah, there's good duality there, and I did, even though I disagree with you, I did like that they did seem to get more into like Batman's thing, like his psyche and shit. In today's world, that is a problematic movie. Danny DeVito is constantly trying to finger women with his flippers.
Teach you my French flipper trick.
Yeah, so I'm most familiar with the Christopher Nolan ones. I'm not as huge a Batman fan. How do you feel about The Dark Knight Rises, the third Christopher Nolan?
I liked it. I mean, obviously there was a couple things in the end where it was kind of like a big cliffhanger with Robin, and then having him just kind of be there, and it's at the end with the table scene.
Yes, I'm sure you agree. I've seen on the internet complain that how wouldn't everyone know who he is?
Yeah.
So like, hey, that's that rich guy. He kind of looks like Bruce Wayne. Yeah. But Anne Hathaway though.
Oh yeah. All three of those movies, I liked them, but they weren't particularly my favorite.
Interesting. What's your favorite amongst them?
Amongst them, I'm gonna have to go number 2, obviously.
Yes, I think that's the crowdsourced choice. It's clearly the best.
The first one was kind of let's test the waters and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think it got pretty decent reception.
Definitely.
As being a Batman fan, I'm pretty picky with my Batman. So, one of the things that I had a big gripe with was The costume, I wasn't crazy about it. The whole narrowish,
In the first
short
one?
ears, yes.
Or were they? Did the costume remain pretty much the same? throughout the trilogy? I think it pretty.
Throughout the three, they progressed to a more free flowing, not as like rugged, strict costume, more of the joints being able to move more and stuff like that.
I do remember to interrupt you, I do remember in the Tim Burton ones that he was constantly doing this because he couldn't move his head.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I immediately noticed watching the Tim Burton ones was that they had not established that Batman does not kill.
Yep.
Because, he goes to town on lots of criminals, and it's like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah. One thing I didn't like about the first Batman, I didn't like how they tied Joker into being the one that killed Bruce's parents. Now, is that canon sometimes or always, or is that just like a thing that they made for that movie?
Once again, you get into different storylines, and different people write the story different ways. In the comic books, it's Joe Chill.
Yes, I do remember that.
Batman finds out, and he decides not to take revenge, even though he probably wanted to.
Nice guy, Batman. Okay. What is your favorite villain from the movies overall? And this can be any movies from the first one to Mr. Freeze to the new ones. Speaking of, before you answer, in the Batman that's coming out, whenever it's coming out, what are the villains in that? Do you know?
I think the Penguin is in there.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. Colin Farrell?
Yes.
Yes.
And I believe they might have one or two more. I haven't been doing too much reading because it's always... You don't really hear too much progress on it.
Take a look at that.
Nice and full.
Oh, it's very full. It puts mine to shame. I have pubes and he's got friggin' glowing locks over here. So yeah, are you excited for The Batman? How do you feel about it?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool.
It's one of those movies that is going to be kind of set in an earlier time period for Batman.
Oh, do you mean like
the
80s, or do you mean like in terms of his career? Or
I think in terms of his career, it's earlier.
Okay.
It looks interesting because DC is also exploring the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
So most of these movies coming out, they're going to say, this is multiverse, Earth this or Earth that.
Okay, so you think that one is a part of something, even though...
Yeah, it's going to be part of the multiverse in some aspect. Okay,
cool. I think the internet is undecided on the Batmobile. I think it kind of looks cool. And Pattinson is a good actor, so yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting choice.
I think one thing that people definitely forget is after one of his greatest movies, Twilight, that
we both love it. It's our favorite.
He actually did a lot of dark indie stuff.
Yes. He did.
I saw some of them. And
like
I thought they were
that one Harry Potter is super dark. Did he die in a maze? Something like a hedge?
Something about a goblet of fire, I think.
Was that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was in the competition for the goblet or something. Right. Do you see The Lighthouse?
No.
Yeah, no. it's wacky. So it was cool. It definitely Tim Burton-y leaned into the camp. Batman just walking around like this with his cape. In the beginning, I thought it was funny that he stops the gangsters. He lets them... They had just robbed a couple and their kid. He stops the gangsters. He decides to let them go, and then he doesn't return the stolen merchandise. So he's like, I did what I had to do. I just thought it was... I guess it wasn't needed, but I thought it was just kind of funny. Wackiness takes that out of it. I liked it, and it's fun, but it's just like, what? Like, I think they just told Jack Nicholson to make wacky noises and do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah. And
then they'll just keep it rolling and burn tape. Because like he's always like like always the whole thing, and it's funny. And when he's just is his name Jack?
Yeah.
No, not Jack Nicholson. What's his name before he turns into Joker? Is it Jack? No.
Jack Napier.
It is. Yes. Wow, what a casting coincidence. Yeah. So when he's just like, a gangster and kind of crazy, It's really interesting. He's fun to watch, and he's like when he's talking to his girlfriend or whatever, he's just like and super wacky. It's really fun. He's just an asshole, and it's great. So, how do you feel about him and his murderous rampage? Like, towards the climax of the movie, he drives through this building and then just blows the whole thing up. It's like full of people. I think they're all criminals, but still, I don't know if Batman's a policeman who decides who lives and dies, but
well, that's once
I
again.
mean, what? Sorry. How do you not necessarily the movie, but how do you feel like versus the approach? Would you rather him be, what's the word? Idealist or whatever it is, and not kill, or do you think he should just do whatever?
Not killing.
You prefer that?
Just for the sole fact that he always has a line that he does not cross.
Okay, yeah.
In other
That's interesting.
in other versions, he does kill.
Yeah.
And it's a nice difference to see him do that because you never think that he's going to or anything.
I don't know if we said this already. I think I mentioned the fingering, but I mean, Kim Basinger is oogled the entire movie. Like, the journalist wants to show her his penis, talking about a long lens to capture the entire girth.
While being a smooth talker.
And eventually she sees the Batcave, which that reveal was really cool. He just drives through a mountain and then it's like, it's really sweet. And I really like Keaton as Batman. I thought he did a cool job. He's kind of pulls off like an off-kilter, like kind of like manic. Not manic, but like you can tell there's something off about him, but he's still like suave. And
I started with watching the Batman movie, Adam West.
Really?
That's what I started.
Okay, all right.
So
for you, the camp of the Tim Burton movies was nothing compared to the disco eroticism of the old ones.
Yeah. So I would be a young child, a little bit smaller than I am now, and I would watch those shows. Almost.
Oh yeah, the show. Was there a movie with him?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was the Batman movie with Adam West and Burt Ward.
Burt Ward!
It was very nice. I liked it a lot. But
what
the show...
I have no idea what happens.
But the show is, I think, better, and then you get these obscure villains.
Yeah.
Pharaoh, and you're just like, what? Or King Tut, I think it was. And you're just... Oh.
Sounds racist.
So back then, when I was younger, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Rewatching it,
doesn't hold up.
It does not hold up.
No, it's like watching Turtles now. You're like, this was great, and no.
But I mean, I still enjoyed it because it was part of my childhood.
Yeah, of course.
Also, big part of my childhood was the 1992 animated series.
Yes, I was going to bring that up with you. Awesome show
because that is amazing.
Kevin Conroy.
Yep.
Yes.
Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
And but this might go into
Mark Hamill.
Another part. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Both did the respective voices in the Arkham games.
Yes, they did. That's cool.
So that's why when you're playing Arkham, you just get a full-on hard-on.
Always. You gotta. And one thing I thought was really funny was that when Joker was poisoning the cosmetics, they would continue to show the news anchors, and they're just like super ugly. But those two montages of Prince songs, that was something. So I like that in these movies that Alfred is always trying to improve Batman's life. He's like, hey, why don't you settle down? I hate you to be alone. With me, I mean, you know, I have friends. You don't. So I really like that Batman has someone. Batman's vehicles seem to have very specific tools. For example, Thing opens up and it's just full of like wire grabbers. It's just like, this is gonna come in handy. Like all right, on to the sequel. Batman Returns. We're introduced in the opening credits to Penguin Oswald, right? Oswald Cobblepot? Yes, and he's got kind of a abandonment Moses type thing. His parents are quite grossed out. It's Pee-wee! Pee Wee Herman's his dad. I wish he came back. Sad. I am sad that they were dead and like he never actually spoke to them. Spoiler. Now, Penguin is is he always raised by penguins? Is that like the shit, or is he just called that because of the way he looks? This movie seemed to imply that he was raised by sewer penguins.
Yeah. No, it's most of how he looks.
Okay, because I would have probably rather watched a movie where he was raised by penguins.
With happy feet.
Yeah. Oh, synergy. That would be cool. So how in Catwoman starring Halle Berry, a magic, I think Egyptian cat
Terrible movie.
barfs into her face and she becomes Catwoman. And in this one, Selena falls, which the fall sequence is really cool. Like goes like through the awnings and like she doesn't burst when she lands, which they probably
The snow caught her.
Oh, the snow, it's so cushy. So and the cats just kind of seem to like jump on her, and then she becomes Catwoman. She have powers? She just crazy? Like this movie seems to like do like a mixture of both. Like she's always like flipping around and being wacky, and like she's batty and crazy. Catty. But like, does she actually have powers?
No. Catwoman in most iterations is just a super experienced jewel thief.
Dark Knight was like that, yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Were there even cats in Dark Knight Rises? Were there cats?
I don't believe so.
That's weird. You think they would shove like one in there?
That's the thing about the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and Dark Knight Rises. All those movies are on the premise of this could potentially happen,
Like a real world,
in
grounded
real life.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people gravitated to, and why they're pretty popular.
Yeah, they're
Because-
gritty, they're
yeah.
realistic, blah, blah, blah.
And like this could all happen in real life, which kind of took out the comic book aspect.
Right.
Because in my view, if you're going to make a comic book movie, you need to have some of the sci-fi and the fantasy. But that's just how I feel.
Yeah, definitely, because Dark Knight just had the Joker, who was he wasn't magical or anything, he was just awesome. Dark Knight Rises had like all the friends and Bane and shit, but he was just like a buff dude. Which I guess at least they didn't have to like kick out his tubes to defeat him. So that was good.
That's true. Because they did that in
Tom Hardy. What do we got there? Oh boy. How do you feel about that one? I mean, honestly, I forgot that Alicia Silverstone was in that. I forgot that was even a part of it.
Listen, you had the Terminator.
Great cast.
And you also
Uma
had
Thurman.
Uma Thurman.
Was she off the heat of Pulp Fiction at that point? Probably.
It was close.
Yeah.
And you also had Bane, Jeep Swanson.
Who the F is that?
He used to be a wrestler, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Some
kind of... I was thinking maybe like a stuntman or something.
Yeah. But in all reality, though, as we talked about before, this is what got me into Batman. This and the show. So this is the Adam West movie.
Oh, that is.
This one, yes.
Very cool. Ooh, it's in mono in French. Nice. And then there's
Batman.
Batman.
89.
Batman Returns. Jonah's favorite. Booyah. How does Shrek die? I'm trying to remember. He does die.
Yep.
Does he fall? They all seem to fall.
Catwoman shocks him.
Yes! That was weird. That was when I fell asleep watching it. And
But
then
then you never find her body.
Right. I fell asleep watching it, and then I rewatched it because I'm like, I don't really remember what happened. And she like makes out with him and like explodes him with the thing, and then you see his corpse. And it's like it's like super funny.
Well, she does have 9
Yeah,
lives.
she does have 9 lives. So you see her at the end when there's like a bat signal. She's
Yep.
like, I'm a Catwoman. So I mean, I don't know if there was ever if that was just like a fun tease or if there was another. Was there a plan for a third Tim Burton? I think there was.
There was talks about one.
Yeah.
And then you would be introducing Robin. And
Or wasn't like maybe Keaton wasn't interested or something, like he wouldn't do it without him, or vice versa, he wouldn't do it without Tim Burton or something like
I
that?
believe that's what the case was.
Yeah.
I think you were going to have Keaton, and I think Burton was the one who was going to be out.
Okay.
So, and honestly, I love the first two because of Tim Burton.
Yeah, I mean, they're
when you-
creepy and they're kind of weird.
And you know, when you look at Gotham City as a whole and do the cityscape, that's what Gotham is supposed to be: dark, gritty.
Yeah.
And then you go to
Definitely Forever and Robin are just, it's just
this movie,
complete silliness.
and you add
Hey, don't besmirch Tommy Lee Jones and Jim
and
Carrey.
you add neon and all this other stuff.
Is that the one with hockey, or is that Batman and Robin? Aren't there like gangsters that play hockey or something?
That's Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is
That's his. Oh, ice hockey makes sense. Yep.
But you got Nicole Kidman in here, so
What does she do in that?
she's Chase Meridian, the guidance counselor or whatever.
Guidance counselor.
She's a shrink.
Yes. Oh, does Bruce see
So
a shrink?
she's there trying to figure out Batman.
Yeah, I do remember Jim Carrey saying he's the Batman at the end.
But then you have Jim Carrey in his leotard? Green leotard?
Leotard, yeah.
Spandex suit.
It's pretty questionable because there's questions.
I didn't mind Val Kilmer as Batman. He was okay. I couldn't get behind George Clooney as Batman.
Why?
You have bat nipples on the suit.
Why didn't Batwoman have bad nipples on the suit? Or did she? She didn't.
I don't believe so.
No, why not? Why doesn't she have bad nipples on the suit? I think they should have put that in there.
Well, I don't know if it was in the contract at the time.
Yes.
But yes.
She won't do bat nudity.
These two movies, not the best.
Obvious.
They were good for the times, just because it was a movie, and I like Batman. But that's about it.
Okay, so you have a similar. Good lord, you have a similar. Fuck it. You have kind of the same opinion as I do. Probably not as extreme because I hate them, but I do about Jurassic World. I like that they exist because dinosaurs, etc. But they are the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So, other than the dinos, so in the beginning of Batman Returns, Penguin wants to, reconcile with his parents, and then he seems to reveal that he wants to kill all the firstborn sons of Gotham. And that falls through immediately. And then he wants to blow up his penguin friends?
He was just using them.
Okay. But that's his family. That seems uncool.
Yeah, but they were willing to do his...
And they're adorable. They're so cute.
They were willing to do his bidding.
So he was raised by them, but he became sort of the Penguin King of them.
I do enjoy Affleck as Batman.
See, I haven't seen any of the DC universe other than the Wonder Woman's, and that's strictly because of Gal Gadot.
Friends off.
What's that?
Friends off.
Friends off. What's that mean?
That means we're done.
Yes. No, I mean, how I feel about DC. I like Batman, but that's a little move.
Yeah. Well, I think Affleck was one of those. You heard it was Affleck, and you're like, oh gosh, really? You mean Mr. Daredevil? No thanks.
Not Charlie Cox.
And then you actually see him on the screen, and you're like, okay, this isn't bad.
Right.
And then you see him as Batman, and he's a little bit more violent because he's more of like the Dark Knight Returns Batman, which is more older. He's an older, grittier version,
Right.
violent. So it's a different take on the character, and it's nice.
That seems to be kind of like people's initial reaction to Heath Ledger.
Yes.
Where they're like, and then you saw him as Joker, and you're like, the whole clapping meme.
But I mean, I think it also goes the same thing for the Joker. Gilson doing all his wackiness and stuff.
Yep. Coke fueled 80s.
And then you had Heath Ledger, and he was great.
He was like, you know what, 9/11, and that's how this is, like that kind of thing.
But for each of those characters that are Joker, I think in every time for the time period, you got more grittier, you got a little bit more crazy, a little bit more insane, and that's essentially how Joker is. pretty much unpredictable.
Anarchistic.
And you never know what you're
anarchistic.
going to get. So I
Right.
think all that wackiness and, like, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Well, I mean, he's fucking crazy. And you never know what to expect.
Yeah.
And that's why he's one of Batman's greatest villains. Because he's totally unpredictable.
Good stuff. Now, other than him, what is your favorite Batman villain? I mean, would he be your favorite? If not, for my question.
I was always a big fan of Bane.
Okay.
Because...
Isn't it... I'm testing my knowledge because I don't really know that much, but wasn't he actually supposed to be smart and like a scientist or whatever, that just happened to make himself big and strong? And like, whereas...
So Bane...
Batman Forever portrays him as like just a big doofus, like, kind of thing.
Batman and Robin.
Yes, right. Batman and Robin. My bad.
So the iteration in Batman and Robin wasn't very good.
Yeah.
You just made him like,
Was it?
He's pumped up. Look at me. Blah blah blah.
Wasn't he like solely Poison Ivy's
in the-
like henchman or something in it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So in the comics, Bane comes from Santa Prisca. I think it's somewhere in overseas. It's a prison. And he was
So is that like Dark Knight Rises, like that kind of prison thing?
somewhat.
Okay.
And he's born there, and then he spends his time there, and then he develops.
born in darkness.
And then he develops a serum to give him the super strength.
It's pronounced cum.
So he...
You heard it here, folks. Bane cum. That's the source of his strength.
So he takes it, and he becomes obviously
takes the
super
cum.
strong.
Yeah.
And but in the comic books, he's definitely more strategic.
Okay.
He mentally breaks down Batman, physically exhausts him, and then when he's at his weakest point, he infiltrates the Batcave and he breaks his back.
Shit. Yes, I do remember the breaking back thing like that.
Yes. And then that's when you have Robin, and they're training Azrael, who is really Jean-Paul Valley, and he becomes the new Batman. And that's around Batman 500, where he develops a new bat costume, which you'll see later.
One thing I really liked about, I mean, even though I didn't like Dark Knight Rises, I liked that Batman was so decrepit from years of fighting and blah, 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 blah. Oh, I have it in my notes. Batman made a mixtape to jam the Penguin's mayoral candidacy, his speech, and he had a Batman branded CD-ROM to create this jammed thing. That's what I was talking about earlier, where he was like, "How do you get that?" Like that kind of thing. Yeah, I know the whole me not watching Justice League and all that shit means we can't be friends, but you know, let's try it. Let's try. You want to try?
Yeah, I guess so.
Alrighty. Well, I think we're done talking movies. So you know what that means? It's time for toys and other shit. So Jonah, odds of us having sex later. To the Batman.
Mr. Bruce.
Mr. Bruce. What's Bruce's middle name? Do you have one? Elijah. Elias.
James.
Really?
No.
Oh. Leroy.
Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins Wayne. Bruce Leroy Jenkins Wayne. I think that's what it is. I realized I took that way after you. We're going to talk about comics now. Wow. A Core Xeon's First. Now, as a dork, it's kind of surprising that I'm not that into comics. I like comics. I like the idea of comics. I think I respect comics. The art is cool. Like I respect that all like the stories come from comics. But I just never really got into it. And as Jonah is shaking his head, I understand. It's bullshit. I think I need like an entry point. The only comics I have are Lock and Key, which is not super... There's Fantasticals. But,
You have First Prince?
Fresh Prince?
First Prince?
I have Fresh Prince. I don't know. How would I know that?
We'll take a gander later.
Okay.
Because it might be worth some money.
Well, no. They must not be because they're in a book. They're not like comics. They're compiled into a hardcover.
He means a graphic novel.
I do mean that. They came out like as comics, but once they're all out, they compiled them into a graphic novel, etc. And that's what I.
Graphic novel. A collection of comics.
This guy. All right, so we're gonna talk about comics now. So Joan Bone, what have you brought us? Shut up. Jonah has graciously brought a lot of his collection, as I said, including some comics. So why don't you talk about what you brought, why you have it, why you like it, what it is, everything we talk about off camera.
Keep on looking up there.
You keep on looking. I'm not.
So, anyways, what I decided to bring today was a few from my collection, a couple graded comics.
This is official U.S. postage. Support the USPS. I mean, come on. There are boys in blue.
So, long story short, I have a lot of comic books. I always like to support my local comic shop. I brought 2 sketch covers today that I bought on...
Speak louder. We just established this.
that I bought on eBay. So...
I'm not shaking my head at where you bought it. I'm shaking my head at the quietness of your whispers.
Okay.
Just yell it.
So, I have a lot of...
Better! That's better volume.
I have a lot of Batman comics. I did try to make it a point at one time to collect almost every Batman comic in life. Not so much Detective Comics, but the regular Batman titles. And I figured out the top 20 comics would probably be too expensive for me.
Okay. Right on. So
the first
you
like
abandoned.
10, yeah, I abandoned that quest.
Right.
So the quest that I have so far completed was getting each and every annual.
Okay.
Like Batman Annual #1, Detective Comics Annual, and I don't do that for a lot of comics. Batman and Spider-Man.
That's what
are
I'm
2
wearing.
that I did. So I mean, I have all of them from #1 to current.
Very cool. I would like to see this.
So, and I have tons of other comics. Probably over 2,000 comics.
I'm sorry. How many?
2,000.
That's a lot. That's more than I have of things.
I actively started counting and keeping track.
Comicking.
There's
alert.
There's an app that you can scan like the barcode or type it in, and it will bring up a picture. And you can make sure you can choose the variant, and you can keep
That's
track
cool.
of your comics.
Dorks. Am I right?
CLZ. So
That's what it's called?
yes,
CLZ.
I started that, and I feel like I was doing it forever, and I only made it to about 725 of my comics.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first sketch cover that I'm going to show you is of Azrael. Now, this is a character I always found to be cool because...
Is he Israeli?
No.
Okay.
This guy eventually takes over for Batman when Bane breaks his back.
Oh.
So Azrael has his own little comic stint. There's about... I think there's a couple... There's like a mini series or 2. And then he also has his original Azrael Agent of the Bat. And there's only 100 issues in that. And I have all of them.
Well done. So he takes over. Does Batman return? And that's why he's no longer... he only has that short stint?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus, he was pretty mentally unstable.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Very cool.
Because he was a part of the Order of St. Dumas. And that is like a secret assassination clan,
Dumas.
and they mess with your mind.
Ah.
So,
he kind of looks like a Mortal Kombat person.
Yeah. So this is one of my first graded comics,
Get over here.
and I really enjoy the sketch cover. So
like-
sketch covers are what an artist does from scratch.
That's one.
So this next one,
Ooh, that's a high rating.
this is a Batman blank sketch cover.
Why do you say blank? What does that mean? I see what it says.
Because this whole cover is blank, and I am pretty sure that the whole comic is nothing but white pages.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This is from another artist. I believe the first one was from Koi Fam, and this one is from Miss Sally Alessandro.
Why does that exist? Like, why is it blank? Like, is it just that it was maybe like a prototype, or like a
No,
test thing, and then they?
I don't know exactly for sure, but my guess is that these blank covers and sketch covers have become more popular over the years.
Okay.
Because you can pretty much put anything you want on here. It could be Batman related. It could be you can put Spider-Man on here. Who gives a shit? Obviously, you want to try to keep it to the comic book. That's how I am. But people can do whatever they want with these. And these ones with the yellow label also has a signature. So it's a signature series.
Oh, cool.
So
And you mentioned that
these are both from CGC.
Nice. You mentioned that this was Azrael's batsuit that he
Yes. Now, during his time as Batman, he thinks the regular suit is not enough. So he creates this more robot, metallic type suit.
Is he
More
friends with
gadgets.
Alfred?
Not so much. He has a falling out with Robin. And that's when Robin gets his own solo series
Ah,
in the comics.
also known as Wonder Woman.
So this is I would say, Nightfall costume for Batman. And then down the road, he develops more armor for it. And then
More armor?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Then
freaking
I believe
armor.
you would call that Night Quest.
Ah, like Sequest. Ever watched that? He killed
Has
himself.
that guy in there.
Alrighty, so those are some cool comics. So, let's talk Batman video games. The only one I played Batman Arkham Asylum, and I played Arkham Knight. So I missed all. Yes, very judgmental. I just can't get into one, man. I don't know.
So let me
some open world shit. I'm like,
So let me ask you
Shut
this.
So,
Did you
were there any old
Play
ones like Genesis, like or
Spider-Man.
Super Nintendo? Yes, Spider-Man is awesome. Shut up. All right, yeah, all right. I just whatever.
Are you gonna play the Miles Morales?
I'm gonna play the shit out of Miles Morales as soon as I get a PS5.
They have
Whenever that does happen.
PS4.
Huh?
They have PS4.
I'm not gonna play an inferior version.
You did have X-Men Legends, which is kind of like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance type game.
I was gonna say I remember. I
For
think
s-
Apocalypse's face being on the cover.
For Sega, and probably Super Nintendo, you had X-Men, and then you had X-Men 2: The Clone Wars. And if you beat X-Men 2: The Clone Wars, you could be Magneto.
I
So
didn't
that
know,
was cool.
I didn't know that at all.
Well,
Now I feel like I should find a ROM. Of
Other
that.
than
Could
that,
you beat
though-
multiple X-Men?
I think it was just you could pick one.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you could choose from one.
Yes.
That's cool.
So those games were good.
Was that the one where Wolverine like kicked, even though he had claws? I remember that being like a thing. Like he's got claws. He's like. Anyway, this is off topic, folks. This is not Batman. Okay, Jonah.
well,
I know you hate talking about Batman, but I mean, we gotta fudge and get with it. Get with it here. What's your favorite Batman video game?
Well,
Asshole. My pussy. Go on.
So, I would have to go with Arkham Asylum is my favorite.
So the first of the Rocksteady ones.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because
PS3.
yes.
Yes.
Because before that you had a bunch of Batman games and they all paled in comparison. But
So why Asylum? Why do you like that one?
because Asylum,
In terms of like the various modern ones, which what are there, 3 or 4? Why do you like that one the best?
so
Here comes baby.
This is the remastered for PlayStation 4.
Yes,
This
came out
has
for PS3
Arkham
and they
Asylum,
released.
and it has Arkham City, the second game. Now, Arkham Asylum to me is probably the better game, just because it's the first game where there's so much stuff you can do as Batman. The graphics are great. They actually used his detective skills.
Yes, you could I don't know if it was like a scanning thing or whatever, but you could see like clues and shit. Yeah. That was cool.
So I think that was the best to me. I did like Arkham City. There's a whole lot more to do. It was more like kind of like an open world type. As Asylum was kind of, you go through, and then after you're done with the game, you can go back.
Mm-hmm.
That type of deal. But Asylum just being the first one and kind of creating this whole plethora of games is really interesting, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, the fighting was cool. The gadgets were cool.
Yeah.
The stealth stuff
it
was cool,
was a
like
nice
hopping
take.
around from perch to perch and shit.
It was a nice take
Sweet.
on villains and everything.
Yeah, like the I'm sorry, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna interrupt you. But the
haven't
scarecrow
noticed.
level, like the scarecrow levels were cool,
Yeah.
where it was kind of like a dream sequence state, and like they had all the different villains within the asylum that you could like interact with and stuff. That was cool.
So, I did enjoy these two games. But then you had Arkham Knight, the final one.
The tank one.
Yes.
Yes.
I
The
definitely
Tankmobile.
think they overused the Batmobile.
Yeah. Were there mechs that you fought? I don't know, it was crazy shit.
Yeah, you had like these Arkham Knight tanks.
Yeah.
And then the only bad thing was the Arkham Knight. Like, when you have the Arkham Knight, I was really hoping it was somebody else. But it turned
Explain. I don't know who this is.
But it turned out to be Jason Todd.
What is that?
Jason Todd is the second Robin, who died at the hands of the Joker. First Robin, Dick Grayson. Second Robin, Jason Todd. Third Robin, Tim Drake.
So this
Fourth
Jason
Robin.
Todd, person, is this person established in any of these games, or just happens to be the Arkham Knight?
They do flashback scenes.
Okay.
And in this take, they have Joker.
Is Joker in this game?
Yes.
Okay.
They have Joker as a flashback where he captured Jason Todd, and he kept him in a dark part of Arkham Asylum, and he just tortured him.
Sad.
In the comics,
Right.
it's a whole story where Jason is trying to find his mother, and I think they travel across country, and it turns out
Road trip.
Turns out Joker is there,
Canyon Joker. Fuck.
and he just captures him, turns his mother kind of against him, and then she feels bad, and then Joker beats him with the crowbar, the famous crowbar.
The famous crowbar. What do you mean by that?
It's like
He has a crowbar that's famous.
he has a crowbar. It's famous. It's bloody. He breaks almost pretty much every bone in his body.
Oh shit.
That's what brings me to another good movie that's animated.
Hey, well, yeah. Tell me about a good animated movie. Is this recent or is this
It's a couple years ago.
Okay.
Probably more than a couple. Batman Under the Red Hood. It talks about the whole Jason and
Jason Mantzoukas of
No.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Jason Todd.
And how did this
Jason Todd. So it talks about Jason Todd, and it talks about his death and everything like that.
Right on.
So, and then he gets resurrected, and he becomes the Red Hood. Spoiler. So,
But you're not the hugest fan of this one compared to Asylum.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked it. It was the end of the Rocksteady trilogy.
Was it a satisfying conclusion or kind of just like, yeah, whatever?
It was satisfying, but in the same aspect, it's wide open.
Okay.
Last Batman game. Arkham Origins.
Prequel?
Yes.
Yes.
This is more of a prequel, an earlier
A
Batman.
prequel. Stefan Urquell.
It's definitely before all the Rocksteady ones, but this one is actually.
You mean chronologically? Isn't it still a
Yeah.
Rocksteady game?
It's a Rocksteady helped them, as in them. I mean WB Montreal, and they helped them create this game.
So it's got
most of the
like
mechanics.
a French, very polite twist to it.
Oh, most of them.
Ooh, sorry, babe. He's punching him.
It's definitely more of like an earlier Batman, and he's like he makes mistakes and he's not perfect.
Okay.
And you
Nice.
still have your different cast of villains.
Interesting.
A lot of the mechanics are the same as the Rocksteady ones, and it's a different game. The only thing that I did not like is when Rocksteady remade the Arkham games. This WB Montreal was left out because it is WB Montreal. So I kind of wish they included it because I would love to have it for the PS4. This is only for the PS3.
Oh, okay. I get you. I get what you're saying.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but if they do make another Origins,
Man, that always
Batman
happens. They
game-
never like include all of them. It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
So if they ever make another Origins Batman game, I would love to have them remodel that and remake it and let me enjoy it for the new system. So
Right, talk about the toys. Because here on Corzions, we talk about toys, and it's about that time, I'd say.
I think so.
Yeah, you think so? Oh, it's that time on Corzions where we talk about the toys. Now, Jonah has brought several toys. So why don't you talk about them? Let's talk about the oldies first. You said you brought some retro toys from back when you were a youngin'. I believe these are the two. Why don't you talk a little bit about them?
I would probably say I have different figures from that are the same exact one, and all I do is just change the color. That are from the
Repaints?
original Batman movie.
Okay.
This guy is from Batman Returns.
Yes, and we also have, which we'll see in this B-roll footage, we also have a boxed version, which Jonah holds precious, I believe.
I do.
Yes. I've
I've
made a rotation, and here in this voiceover clip, you'll see a rotation of it.
So the thing that I find most interesting about
Hold it up, baby.
this Robin is that
Oh, it stands.
A, he's not in Batman Returns. But
no, he's not.
he's in their toy line. Now why would that be? Corey? That's what I thought. So
to maximize profits, to capitalize on existing IP, the Jurassic Park had lots of friggin' toys that weren't actually in the movie.
the thing that
Coelophysis,
was nice about this
Spinosaurus, until the third.
is that at the time,
Stegosaurus,
because I actually looked this up because I was very curious as to why you would put this in.
Pachycephalosaurus.
And then as I saw this, I was like, oh, maybe I missed
Utahraptor.
Robin in the movie. And then I knew I didn't because I'm fucking smart. So, the thing about this
Can't not be
is
in the movie if you're not
he was
in the
very
movie.
popular in the comics at the time. So they just decided to put him in this toy line. And I think that's one thing that always intrigued me. So I have the figure here that I've obviously played with a lot. And then I made sure
It looks a little frayed.
I wanted to
It does
go
look a
out
little
and
frayed.
get a nice, pretty much pristine
So,
version.
did you get this as an adult?
I
The,
did.
the boxed version? Aha!
Because,
In a future video, you'll see my big red T-Rex that is the same situation. But go on.
because I have other action figures, like, say, this Batman, that I wish I would have kept the packaging just to have something to look back on, because it shows all the other toys in the line.
See, that's a cool thing about that's missing from modern packaging. It'll show maybe one or two figures, but you don't get the whole gist of what you're trying to
Well,
collect.
I also think
It's all multilingual.
back in these days,
PC.
when Kenner made toys.
Oh, Kenner. Bought out
Kenner.
by Hasbro,
Kenner,
who subsequently
Kenner.
destroyed the Jurassic Park franchise.
Hasbro, Mattel.
Yes,
I mean,
Mattel is still cool.
You had a bunch of that, and
Kenner was the bomb. Though.
I
They
think
were number one.
you definitely put more product out. I mean, just looking at the back here, you can see all the other different things that they had.
Right.
They had figures and they had vehicles,
Playsets, etc.
It's definitely.
Was there a Batcave? Probably.
There was.
Haha!
And they also had one for I think the first movie as well.
Just like friggin', they had the Jurassic Park Command Center with the fences, and they had like the Turtles' lair and the Technodrome and all that shit. So that's cool, right on. So these are the retros that you used to like. Let's talk about your new bows. So we got old Batman and Robin, and I think we got some newer Batman and Robin. Cool.
I believe.
What are these guys?
Old and busted, new hotness.
So
Now-
one thing I noticed when trying to stand them up, it's very difficult. Why? Yeah. Why don't? How old are these?
I would probably go as bold to say 06 to 08.
Okay, so they're still pretty old, even though they're new. They're certainly newer than Kenner, which is early '90s probably.
I think that's probably the top.
Yeah, probably. So one thing I noticed is they don't have like a ball joint at the shoulders. It means you can't. Oh no! Oh shit! Oh, I'm a liar. It has ball joints. So not at the hips though. You can't do a splitty split. Splitting involved, but he can do back. Oh shit! That is a different kind of split, and that's pretty sweet. Can Robin do the same? Pretty much. He can't go as high. Which is
He's the boy wonder.
but he's a trapeze man. He should be flexible as shit. Like dating Natalie Portman, etc. Okay, so he's also got ball joints at the shoulder, no movement at the waist, and just a swivel at the head, and no ankle movement. So, what made you? When did you buy these? Do you remember?
Well,
I mean, have you had them for a really long time, like as in when they came out, or was it more recent as an adult person? Jonah is frantically looking at Robin's ass. I assume there might be a maid date on there, on his ass, not on his foot. Heche in China.
Do you see on the back leg?
He's got bat symbols on his feet. Look at that shit. Ooh, look at that! Look at that utility belt, baby. Ooh, I like the fabric cape. That's cool. Let's see. Is there any kind of stampage? Oh yeah, there's something. It's hard to read though. Something DC Comics.
I don't think really. This one doesn't really doesn't give
boy.
a date.
No, I can't read shit. But yeah, did you buy these like as an adult? Like we're adults?
I was pretty grown, but
I was full grown.
but there is no limit for Batman.
Oh, I see. So
I think I got this one in a 2-pack with Superman and the Robin King.
So you like in like a regular store, or then like
Yeah,
okay. Oh, so like
probably
when they
like
were released.
Toys R Us, or
Okay.
I think there was a mythical place called KB Toys.
Ooh, very mythical.
Yeah, I would definitely say another reason I really enjoy Batman is because I feel he has probably one of the best rogue gallery of villains. And then my next up would be Spider-Man.
Right on.
So after that, give me some heroes, and name at least 5 to 10 of their villains.
I mean,
Good
other
luck.
than Batman and Spider-Man, I could never.
Yeah.
Maybe X-Men. Sinister, the Red Guy, Sauron, the pterodactyl person, Magneto.
When you say the red guy,
Yeah, he's Russian. Red.
Magneto,
No. Fuck.
Omega Red.
Omega Red! Boom! I knew his name was Red something. Trask. The Sentinels, which is not a person, but it's a thing. Sabretooth. Toad. Mystique, kind of sometimes. Yeah, so I think I've named enough of X-Men's. I think I'm doing pretty good. What am I missing? Why are you shaking your head?
Because it's
It's bullshit.
It's a superpower I have. But no, yeah, there's definitely, I would recommend watching the X-Men animated series, which
Juggernaut!
they might
Bitch!
redo.
Really?
If you noticed,
What do you mean redo? What does that mean?
if you noticed, very oddly,
Apocalypse! Holy fuck.
Um,
my favorite, I forgot.
Disney Plus you can choose an icon of the X-Men animated series. Why would you do that if you're not planning on possibly renewing the series? I also
cashing in on your adult nostalgia, bitch. You have kids, you're like, fuck, X-Men. Exactly. It's like that or Topanga.
I also believe that there was talks of them restarting the Batman animated series.
That would be sweet too.
So,
And well done to keep us on point. Okay, so you have a couple more toys. These ones are boxed, which are not for playing with. And I feel the pain. I mean, they're in there waiting to play with. It's like that prospector guy from Toy Story 2. But at the same time, sometimes you gotta just, respect that these aren't for playing with.
now I have a few of these. I didn't have room to bring all of them. But I also like to collect, not all, but the ones
What
that
are
I
these
like.
called, Jonah? I've not heard of this. I know what it is, but what is this? What for the audience? What is this malformed abortion? What is it? Put it on the black thing so I can spin it. And what is it?
I believe they call these Funko Pops.
Funko Pops. Could you? We should be rich. I mean, like, you poorly 3D print some kind of garbage.
It's pretty much a big head for kids.
Right, it's a big head. When you put the code in the hockey video game, they all have big heads.
But you could probably pretty much find a Funko Pop for anything.
That's a
these
cool
days.
background, though. That back.
This is the Jim Lee one.
Jim Lee.
Lee.
Stanley's daughter. Isn't that not right? If they're related, I'm gonna crap my pants.
You might be incorrect.
Are they related though? That'd be sweet. Nah. All right, so this is from Hush, which is, you said, is a comic series.
Yes, it's a storyline.
A storyline. Okay. Why? What is it called? Why is it called Hush?
Can't talk about it.
Good, because I probably want to make the final cut anyway. Okay, so next up, one that I thought was really cool that Jonah brought, the 100th action figure, correct?
You would be correct.
100th action figure Batman,
Now this
which is really sweet. It's shiny
limited
as shit.
100th edition
Have you ever opened this?
of Batman. No, I have not ever.
Okay. Very cool.
And I don't plan to.
So it's got a very cool golden, like, shiny box. And the Batman figure itself, it's got the whole Beast Wars Transmetal chromium shiny shit to it. Which is a good thing they didn't open it, because it would have degraded over time and would be like peeling off.
So what it really says on the back is...
Yeah, what does it say? What does it say on the back?
This special limited edition Batman collectible figure is Kenner's dramatic 100th version of The Dark Knight.
Very cool figure.
Take a gander. A long gander.
Very cool. I mean, it's got that list on the back, which I've already shown with.
Yep. So this names all their other figures before this one.
So what's cool about this, it's got like a lot of blue in it, and the shininess is pretty sweet. You've mentioned that the Batarang is gigantic.
Yes.
I
I think that was it's mostly for his more.
maybe it's like an
classical-
ultimate Batarang situation, like some kind of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing it at a giant robot or something.
So, when did you get this?
I've had that for many years. I actually
Like as a child?
I believe I was probably
18.
Yeah, 18 to 20.
Yeah.
And
So an adult,
I
but still.
actually bought this in a store. Let me just take
Really?
a gander here.
Oh,
1996.
Oh, why do you know this? Is that what it says on the back?
Yes. So 1996. What was I doing in 96?
Fuck this thing. Very cool. I too have figures that I never take out of the box. That's just what happens. Sometimes you gotta keep your precious. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So I think that's all of Jonah's toys. I think that's all you brought, buddy.
That's all I brought.
Well, yes. I mean, we all have secret toys. Well, Jonah, that's our show. We've completed our first ever special guest appearance, Our first ever. Wow. And I sure learned a lot about the Batman. Now I know that it's a superhero and that it has various media involvement with such. Yes, I mean, I've always wanted kind of like, fuck you. I've always wanted kind of like I've always wanted like to choose a cool action figure, like a definitive version. So you're familiar with like Hot Toys and shit like that, right? Like Sideshow, like the high-end, like $300 type 1/6 scale.
Sideshow has a Superman that I want, and
Yeah, like I have
Fall Batman.
I have the
And
Advanced Suit Spider-Man one from the PS4 game of that, and I have Captain America from Winter Soldier, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, like they have several Batmans, like from Batman Begins. Like, do you have any like that you have your eye on, like super high-end shit, like that kind of thing?
So,
do you currently own anything like that?
No.
Okay.
But I will. So the second graded comic book that I showed you earlier in the segment, the Nightfall Batman, they have one at Sideshow, and I think it's
the Azrael one. They have
the
one
Nightfall
of that
Nightfall
suit
Batman.
though.
Yes.
Really, I didn't see that.
And it's I think about $1,000.
No. Holy shit! Because most of their figures are like $250.
Yeah, and it's fully articulated, and a couple different heads, and it's just it's beautiful.
They're all like that. I mean, there's a studio that does like Jurassic Park ones. There's like Prime Studio, where the fuck it is, but it's like $1,500. It's insane. It's like too much. Like for my various dinosaurs, pay like $350. Like I'll pay that much, but for like when it goes above like $500, you're like, no way. And I can't believe that is that expensive. That's crazy.
I believe that's what it's around.
Wow.
I think they also give the option for like a payment plan. And,
Yeah, of course.
I was like, but I will own that one day. I don't have many statues. I do have a Gladiator from Marvel, X-Men Gladiator.
What is that?
Gladiator is from the Shi'ar Empire. X-Men Cosmic Villains.
Okay.
And I have I think the brand was Hard Hero, and it's like a resin statue.
Okay. That's how my dinosaurs are.
And it's that is probably like this big.
Yeah.
And he's just like kind of standing like this. Gladiator is he's pretty much one of the iterations of Superman for the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
Because you have Gladiator, who's pretty close in speed, strength, and all that. He's probably a physical match. But I think his power is based on willpower.
Willpower?
Yeah. Like if he's confident in himself, he has the power. If he's not, that type of deal.
He has the confidence to ask a lady out at the bar.
So I think in DC you also have maybe possibly Blue Marvel, and you also have Hyperion, which is
it's a
he's part
DVD brand.
He's part of the Squadron Supreme.
Good
Which
God, I don't know anything.
Squadron Supreme.
I thought I was dorky.
Squadron Supreme is the Marvel's version of Justice League.
Oh. Wow, they really shit the bed on that naming convention. But I guess they had Avengers.
But yeah, so Squadron Supreme isn't super popular. But
it sounds pretty lame.
Obviously,
it sounds not good.
You know,
it's
you
like
have
a bad
Batman
name.
and you have Justice League.
Yeah.
But one thing that is on the rise, I would say, is
bread.
Yes.
What's on the rise, Jonah? Tell me about the rise.
Crime Syndicate.
You penis. Crime Syndicate.
Yes. That is the evil version of the Justice League.
Oh, interesting.
From another universe.
So it's not Suicide Squad. That's different.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
So I think just to name a few, you have Superwoman, which is like a Wonder Woman. You have Ultraman, which is like Superman. You have
Ultra Lord from Jimmy Neutron.
You have I'm having a blank.
Dick Face.
That is super close.
He had like a face for a dick.
Nighthawk.
That's what it was.
Or is it Owlman? I think it's Owlman.
Owl Dick?
Yep.
Are
Nighthawk
you
is
thinking Watchman?
Nighthawk is Squadron Supreme.
Who's the Watchman owl guy? Mr. Hoot? Have you seen it? Have you you know?
I have.
Yeah, I mean the HBO Watchmen
the Owl
was really
Man
cool.
is the Tootsie.
Night Owl was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, that was cool. I mean the Zack Snyder movie was pretty sweet. We're getting off topic. Anyway, that's our show, folks. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. You know, or if you're crazy, donate to my Patreon. Oh boy. And here's my social media explosion. And, you know, we're going to have future episodes probably featuring Jonah at some point. You know, more special guests. This was a super special one. I'm sorry that it's lacking in pizza robots, but, you know, they might return. Who knows? I just got to wait for the future transmission to come to hack into my laptop, you know? That's how it works. I can't decide when that happens. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Jonah. Jonah can be seen on social medias at Jonas. And Jonah, why don't you say what is your shirt? What is that?
This is my local comic book shop, 3D Comics.
Link in the description along with my social media. So Jonah, I thank you very much. Welcome to Corzions. Super bro. Fist action. Oh, it hurts so good. And we'll see you next time, folks. Thank you very much, and good night. I think we're ready. Whoa. God damn it! Oh, my fat ass. All right. Let's do it.